Hello everyone, and welcome back to Warships Blitz with Terry. Today I have something on Epicenter, and this battle was interesting for a couple of reasons. Because first of all, I'm in my Odin, in one of my absolute favorite ships in the game. It's a tier 8 battle, and it's pretty much flat out tier 8. I can't see anything. Oh no, actually it's a tier 9 battle, but I think the only tier 9 ship in the whole thing is the Chungmu on our side. So why I'm showing you this is because it has some really interesting tactical implications of how Epicenter mode works and how you can break enemy lines. So let's have a look at the team list first. We have Amagi, Odin, myself on the friendly team. Then we've got three cruisers, an Edinburgh, a Bayard, and a Charles Martel, and 2 destroyers, a Chungmu and an Asashio. I can't remember, does the Asashio get deep water torps? The Chungmu definitely does. So in an Epicenter mode, they're up against Benson and Kagero. On the enemy team in terms of cruisers, there's Cleveland, which is extremely dangerous for destroyers, Bayard, and 3 battleships, Bismarck, Vladivostok, and Kansas. And we are somewhat balanced in terms of league. There are two divisions on the enemy team, and we've got 1 division on the friendly team. So let's get this going. Epicenter stands and falls with the destroyers because it is very, very difficult in a static setup for anybody but a destroyer to start to dominate the center cup. And you can kind of compensate if you're not if you're holding the 2 outer rings, you're still going to have a higher points income, but holding the center cup is a big advantage in these maps. Plus, especially in this map, there's an island in the middle, which gives you great torpedo angles to keep the enemy team at bay. So Bayard and Edinburgh to my right, which means the Martel is on the left. There's the Asashio, and we've got the Chungmu on the other side. Now, the destroyers are going to have problems capturing this against the Benson, for example, and especially if they're backed up by a Cleveland. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to park myself next to that island there and get into somewhat of a tanking position. That's a very early torp. I don't think that's going to hit anything. But yeah, Chungmu and Asashio are both kind of rushing the center cup, which is the right thing to do. But we want to position ourselves such that we can tank a bit for the team. Excuse me, Mr. Martel, but I want to be on this corner, if you don't mind. And we are holding the outer ring, and we are we were losing, but we are losing the middle ring. So there are definitely 2 destroyers going around. Okay, we've got the Vladivostok spotted. So I'm gonna start shooting. Okay, and let's pause. There we have the enemy team scouted. So we've got Bayard ahead of us. We've got Kansas and Vladivostok as the heavy hitters. The Bismarck's probably somewhere there as well. And we've got, as expected, Kagero and Benson in the center cup. Now for our team, the Bayard is sitting on the right flank, and the Edinburgh is going wide behind that island there. Now the Edinburgh is very, very dangerous because he has a smokescreen. The Bayard doesn't have that. The Bayard is a long-range HE spammer, but not so much a destroyer hunter, especially not if there's battleship backup. So obviously I want to use the island right next to me. So I don't want to go any further in because there are going to be torpedoes coming, probably from the Kagero and maybe even from the Benson. Down these lines here. So I want to use that island defensively, and also I want to tank for the Charles Martel. So I'm slowing down and stopping here, and obviously immediately starting to shoot at the Kagero. Got some secondary hits in, and we are going to open up at the Vladivostok. Now the Bismarck can't go completely aggressive in the same way that I can't. And obviously there's a Kansas as well, so we're all backing up, and yeah, there come the torpedoes as expected. But these torpedoes aren't going to hit anything. I don't even need a hydro for that. We've got Kansas over there. We've got Vladivostok, and we've got the destroyers controlling the center cup. Now our team is hanging right, and the enemy team is kind of hanging left a bit. So the lines are not quite as clear cut. And you see the 2 enemy destroyers in the center cup. Now, why they're sailing around in the open, I'm not sure. I'm just trying to get some shots off at the Bayard here to discourage him. But we are in the process of losing the middle ring, so I am getting back in there. But look at the Benson. The Benson is starting to get a severe amount of fire. And yes, now he's in the position where he should be. But the Cargo seems to have beached himself, trying to get away from the cruisers. And that's where the Edinburgh flank... And once again, let me pause this. That's where the Edinburgh flank is working. Because look at this. We are holding their left flank. The Kansas there on the left is not necessarily in a position to do very much. The Bismarck is sitting in the outer ring. The Vladivostok has been pushed back because he's lost half his health by now. And we've got 4 ships here holding this area, and we've got the 2 destroyers because they can't contest the cap to us just yet, plus the Edinburgh sailing around the side. Now the Edinburgh can do this because the Edinburgh has smoke. So the Edinburgh can get himself into a flanking position because he has mobile concealment. And I think the Benson and the Cargo have just learned the hard way that they've been outflanked and they cannot hide behind the islands because they get shot at by an Edinburgh. And there is no battleship on the enemy side contesting the eastern flank and pushing that Edinburgh back. So they're at the same time also not pushing down the western flank very much quite yet, which means that I'm sitting here in a German battleship on almost full health, and I can start taking pot shots at the Benson, who's sailing, for some reason comes out here in the middle. He goes undetected, but not after getting a bit of a spanking. And obviously I'm going back again just in case somebody comes around. Now, they have lost the Cargo as expected, but they are still holding the center ring. Because the Benson is still there, and there's a Cleveland somewhere as well. Now the Kansas is trying to push. Charles Martel goes in relatively aggressively against Kansas. So this is the moment where I need to, I need to move forward, because Kansas is pushing now very clearly. And there's another thing happening, and this is baffling me. Look at what the Cleveland is doing. The Cleveland is pushing towards the center ring. Now, where he is right now, he is very, very dangerous to our destroyers. But he's moving forward. So we've got 2 things happening here. We've got a Cleveland moving into the center cap, trying to roll up our destroyers. And hopefully, by the looks of it, the Vladivostok and or the Bismarck and the Bayar back there in the enemy team have realized that they're being outflanked. So they can roll up this kind of task force here in the northeast reasonably easily. The Cleveland can absolutely murder these destroyers. And the battleships can make very, very short work of the Edinburgh if she's not in a smoke. Plus, we've got a Kansas rushing on the left side. So they are making things happen right now. The Kansas is very, very dangerous to pretty much everybody. But I'm in a German battleship. And this is the moment when it's becoming go time, because I can tank the Kansas and I can obliterate the Cleveland if he's moving any further forward. So I'm putting the engine up on full, firing up the Hydro because I don't know exactly where the remaining destroyer is. Yeah, the Charles Martel just got a spanking. And I am going to get in there because the Benson has left and the Cleveland is moving too far forward to get angles at these destroyers. So Cleveland can kill Asashio here with ease. They can kill the Edinburgh back there easily as well. And then the things are looking different. So it's full steam ahead. And I'm going to make this Cleveland regret what he's done because he's moved way too far forward for what he needs to do. And at the same time, I'm keeping an eye on the Kansas, but I am going headfirst into the Vladivostok, taking shots from the Kansas, which is what I want. I don't want him to shoot at the Charles Martel. Shoot at me instead. I can take that. And the Cleveland is now in reverse. Now, the Cleveland has a problem because right now, if the Cleveland turns, he is giving broadside to the Amagi. If he doesn't, he's giving broadside to me. So this is what we call technically a crossfire. At the same time, the Kansas on the left ring is trying to loop around. I haven't forgotten about him, but I'm just tanking his shots for now. And once the Cleveland is dealt with, I'm going to loop around. Now, we have lost the Edinburgh as expected. The 2 destroyers are still outside, and we are behind on points at right now. Which is why I want to secure the center cap, because once this Cleveland is dead, they have no way of getting the center cap back, and then I'm going to loop around and deal with the Kansas. Whereas the Kansas has just run out of friends. The Vladivostok is back, but he's on half health, so he's not going to come any further forward. So I'm just going to kill the Cleveland, and that's the dead Cleveland. So now let's get the Kansas to turn in. He's getting worked over by my secondaries right now. Let's get the Kansas to turn. So drop some torpedoes on him. That'll force him to turn. And yeah, he's noticed me. He's just damage conned. The secondaries on the Odin the auto secondaries have a crazy range, but now I can just brawl this guy. That's another citadel. A couple of shots into the bow, and he has just damage con, so any kind of fire is permanent. I'm almost still at full health, so I'm just going to give a full turn. That's a perma fire, and I am just going to torp him from here, taking one salvo from the Kansas on the nose, and that's now a dead Kansas. He didn't stand a chance in hell to survive this. So now they are down the Cleveland and the Kansas in a very, very brief amount of time, and at this point they have basically lost. Because if we're looking at this now, the Benson is nowhere to be seen because he's on very low health. The Bismarck is looping around the long way, but is now engaged with 2 destroyers. We are controlling the center cap. The Bayar has no way of getting in here because we've got our big guns still. The Vladivostok is on reasonably low health, and we've got our Charles Martel in a defensive position. Look how the Charles Martel here, just on the right side of the screen, is positioned. He is bow in behind the island, and he can poke out at will. He has got torpedoes. He's got HE, and it's not going to be easy for something like the Vladivostok to dislodge him, even if I wasn't here. But yeah, at this point, in a matter of half a minute, they have lost this game because they haven't managed to do a concentrated push. While we have lost our right flank to a degree, and we've just lost our Bayar, so well done Vladivostok, but the Vladivostok isn't going to survive this. Either I'm going to kill him or the Amagi or the Charles Martel are killing him, and you really, really don't want to be within 7 kilometers of an Odin's auto secondaries if you can avoid it, because that thing's just going to outright murder you. Then yeah, we've got the center, and the Benson here comes out and is once again spotted, and he's on super low health from the earlier attempts where he was coming under fire. He's healing, and he's trying to torpedo the Charles Martel, and the Bayar is setting me on fire. But yeah, at this point it's just a cleanup really, and that's that. The Benson is dead, and now it's just really the Bayar left. So that one moment when the Cleveland was pushing ahead was when the battle has turned, because the Bismarck was suddenly busy on the right side and found himself against 2 destroyers. The Cleveland was dead. The Kansas was suddenly alone, and he turned from a crossfire position into what was basically an exposed position, because he really didn't have. Yeah, he had to brawl with an Odin, and that's not something you want to do in a Kansas, because your reload and DPM is just not high enough to deal with this sort of thing. So yeah, just as I find that like a really interesting way to see it. So controlling the center with destroyers is very, very important, but you also have to form a cohesive line and maintain your control over the capture rings. So if you allow the enemy to start breaking through, and especially if you've got a German battleship on the other team that can start making this kind of push and has this kind of insane DPM like the Odin does with torpedoes and auto secondaries, then a battle like this can turn very, very quickly. So don't expose yourself unnecessarily. I think that's a generally good rule for life. And yeah, keep an eye on what your teammates are doing in these kind of battles, because the action really, really always happens in the middle. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks everybody, and I'll see you next time. Bye.